In this video we're going to look at demand and supply price equilibrium. Invariably, if you ask anyone what he thinks about economics, you generally get an answer, well, it's all about supply and demand. So what does that actually mean? Well, we're going to look at when people say leave it to the market will sort itself out. They're basically saying the market left to its own devices will always find an equilibrium. It will always come back to balance. And that's what this equilibrium means here. We're getting all things being equal, we are finding a perfect balance. So, let's begin. Price equilibrium is found where supply and demand are equilibrium. This is a point basically where both sellers and buyers are happy with the price and the quantity of the good. So let's begin by drawing a graph. Okay, very loose graph. Vertical axis is price and the horizontal axis is quantity demanded. Alright, now let's draw in our demand and supply curves. This is our demand curve and this is our supply curve. Why does our demand curve go that way? Well, we can intuitively see basically the higher the price, the less people want of something. The lower the price, the more you want of something. So the demand curve slopes that way. And in the same sense, the supply curve, the more someone supplies something, the more that they produce of it, and the more they supply, the higher a price they want for it, because it's costing them more to make all these goods. So that's why we have the directions of the demand and supply curve. So, where the demand and supply cross, this is our equilibrium. This is where both sellers and buyers are happy with the price and quantity. So let's just draw that in. There we are. So let's just say this is 0.35 pence. Okay, oh sorry, 35 pence. And that's going to produce, in this case, let's say Mars bars. So for 35p, a company can produce 250 Mars bars, and they'll clear. The market will clear. There'll be nothing left over. All right. Okay, so this is what price equilibrium looks like, where demand equals supply, whatever that may be. Now what happens if we're the businessman and we're selling the Mars bars and we think we want more than 35p for our Mars bars? We want, I don't know, let's say we want 40p. 40p for our Mars bars. This is the price, 40p. Okay, so at 40p we're going to supply this number of Mars bars. Remember, we are the business. So at 40p we're supplying this number of Mars bars. At 40p, because we've got a higher price for our Mars bars, we can produce more. Okay, so let's say that's 300 Mars bars. Fantastic, there we are. We're selling more Mars bars at a higher price. The business is, well, doing far better. Why wasn't I put in charge earlier? But in fact, the market, you can see, if there's no external disruptions, at 40p, it actually crosses the demand curve further up, because they're more expensive, we want less of them. So you can see here, if we drop down, actually we only demand, as a consumer, 200 Mars bars. At 40p, we only want 200 Mars bars. We have excess supply. This distance here is excess supply. The company has produced 100 Mars bars too many for the price it's charging. So, in this current situation, the company's going to go out of business. It's producing too many Mars bars and it's not selling them. So the only thing it can do to increase the amount of Mars bars it sells is to essentially lower its price. And as a result, with a lower price, it will move along the supply curve. It will produce less for a lower price, obviously, up until the point where consumers are quite happy to clear the market, to buy as many Mars bars as we produce. With excess supply, prices need to fall in order to clear the market. Fantastic. Alright then, let's have a look now at excess demand. Let's move up here. Let's draw another quick graph. Again, vertical axis is price, horizontal axis is quantity demanded. And we have our demand curve downward sloping and our supply curve upward sloping, and we have of course our equilibrium. Okay, our equilibrium price will stay at 35 pence. Alright, now let's have a look at demand and supply with excess demand. So as a company, I decide to price my Mars bars at 25 pence. And 25 pence is quite a low price really, so I can't produce that many of them. So I produce only 150 Mars bars at that price. 25p, I can only produce 150. I can't cover my costs if I produce any more. But you can see at 25p, actually, demand is much stronger. And we can really relate to this because we are consumers. The cheaper something is, the more we want of it. And at 25p, the market demands, the consumer demands, 350 Mars bars. There is excess demand in the market. Excess demand, and we have excess demand here. And with excess demand, prices need to increase. Let's have a look at this. Alright, so you can see in a free market, with excess demand or excess supply, the market will balance itself back out, and we will always end up returning to equilibrium, because the market cannot sustain itself either at too high a price or too low a price. A free market will always clear to equilibrium. And that's the end of the video.